What's going on, guys? It's BassKicker here, back with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking to you guys all about spinnerbaits. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to start off by saying is I absolutely love throwing spinnerbaits. It's one of my very favorite baits to throw. And a lot of people don't like throwing spinnerbaits, and obviously I know the reason why, and I think we all do. They look unnatural, they're very, very bulky, they have a ton of blades. Skirt, wire, and a lot of people just don't like to throw them because of how bulky they are. However, I actually never used to like throwing them either until they became one of my very, very favorite bass baits to throw, and we're going to talk about that. So, before we get into why they're one of my favorite baits to throw, let's talk about a few components of what makes a spinnerbait special. So obviously, you have a skirt right here. Some people like to throw a trailer hook, I do. Comes with a skirt, some sort of wire right here. It comes down, comes with a line tie, and then it either has 1, 2 to 3 blades on it. And there's a bunch of different combinations, a bunch of different stuff. We're going to get into all that today. So what makes a spinnerbait one of my favorite baits to throw? Number one, it imitates a school of bait fish. What I mean by that is obviously the skirt, the blades. It imitates a school of bait fish when it comes through the water, and it imitates that perfectly, and that's just one thing that I absolutely love about a spinnerbait. Number two, they're very, very versatile baits, meaning that you can throw them winter, summer, spring, fall. It doesn't really matter. These baits can get it done depending on the conditions, and also depending on the combination of blades you throw, color you throw, weight. All that comes into combination when it comes to throwing a spinnerbait. Now, a spinnerbait is great and is probably one of my favorite baits in windy conditions. Whenever there's chop on the water, a spinnerbait is number one of my favorite baits to throw, because number one, it's going to cut through the frequency of the chop. It's going to allow those fish to find it better because of the vibration of the blades and the pulsing of the skirt. And another thing that I really love about a spinnerbait in chopping conditions is obviously chop on the water is created by wind. Depending on the weight of spinnerbait you throw, you can get that bait to go down to where you need it, to where those fish are at. So for example, if I'm fishing, 1 to 3 feet of water, I might go with a 1/4 ounce. If I'm fishing, maybe 2 to 6 feet of water, I'm probably going to go with 3/8 ounce. And obviously anything deeper than that, I'm going to be going with my 1/2 ounce, 3/4, all that good stuff. So the next thing is, let's talk about blade combination. There's a ton of different blade combinations here. I have two of probably the most common right here. Right here I have a Colorado willow leaf blade type. And the Colorado blade is just going to be that round one right there. Not sure if you guys can see that. And then the willow leaf blade is this longer, narrow type of blade. And these are really, really great for, all-purpose conditions. When you want, when you're not really sure of a blade combination to pick, or if you're ever confused or anything like that, a Colorado willow combination is probably going to be one of your best bets, because it catches fish everywhere. It's just one of my favorite ones. I got several of them in my spinnerbait box, which we're going to go over in a second. And then obviously you have this other type, which is a double willow leaf type. So there's 2 willow leaf blades on here. And these are really, really great for shallow water. When you have clear water, the willow leaf blades just put off the most amount of flash because of how they're shaped. They don't put out as much vibration. They probably put out the least amount of vibration of all the spinnerbait blades, but that can be a good thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. But probably going to be using these more in clear water. Probably not going to be ideal for extremely muddy water. You're going to want to go with a different one here in a minute, which I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So right here you have Colorado willow, double willow, great combinations. Let's talk about some other ones. So the next ones for blade combination that we're going to talk about are going to be these guys right here, and these are a little different. Let me explain why. First one I want to go over is the Colorado Indiana blade spinnerbait. Now, when thinking about one of these spinnerbaits, these are going to be good for, you know, like not insanely clear water, but more of like dingy water, like maybe you know, you got an algae bloom, it's a little bit stained, not like insanely muddy where you have zero visibility, but they're going to be great for those types of conditions where it's a little bit stained, not clear, but it's definitely a little bit stained. So obviously I just talked about that Colorado blade, but an Indiana blade is a little bit different. It's a little bit shaped, it's kind of a hybrid between a willow leaf blade and a Colorado blade, and you can see why, because a Colorado blade is just round. The Indiana blade is a little bit pointed, but it's still got that round personality. It's going to put out a little more vibration than a willow leaf. Not as much as a Colorado blade, but it's going to put out a little bit more than a willow leaf. And again, you got a willow leaf right here. Absolutely love these baits for, you know, those conditions where it's just windy, but you still have a little bit of visibility in the water, but it's not completely stained. These baits right here will get it done, this combination right here. Now, the combination that I like to throw when it gets really dirty water. There's two different types of conditions I'm going to throw this next spinnerbait in. But if you think about it, dirty water, which means you may have maybe even a couple inches of visibility, like 6 inches of visibility, not going to be able to see much, this spinnerbait's going to be able to get it done. And that, of course, is a single Colorado type spinnerbait. Just has that single Colorado blade on there. Now this is going to put out the most amount of thump when you're fishing dirty water, and obviously that's what you want. You know, like, think about it. If you were a bass, they're going to be tight to structure, it's going to be hard to see in that zero visibility. You're going to want something with a lot of vibration and thump that those fish are going to find, and that is what you're going to find with that single Colorado blade. Now, the other conditions I'm going to be throwing this type of spinnerbait in is going to be night fishing. Again, night fishing, you're not going to have any visibility. Now, night fishing, you might be fishing, you know, clear water. You might be fishing any type of conditions. But anytime I'm night fishing, this is usually the only spinnerbait that I'm going to throw. And a spinnerbait is actually my favorite bait for night fishing, besides maybe topwater fishing, because these baits are going to be the easiest for the fish to find. You're going to want to go with a dark colored skirt, especially for night fishing, especially dirty water situations. And that is what I really like about the single Colorado blade. Now, you might also notice the difference. All these other spinnerbait blades that I'm talking about are more of a metallic color. You know, they have a silver or gold for the most part. This Colorado blade is more of a nickel color. It's not very bright. It's more of this titanium black style color. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it's not very bright. And that's what I'm looking for in that dirty water. I'm not really worried about flash in extremely dirty water. I'm more worried about if those fish can find that bait. And this bait right here will get it done. Now, spinnerbaits are great in all conditions, as I just explained. I have my favorite brands. We'll talk about that last, but the next thing I want to talk about is spinnerbait storage. And spinnerbait storage can get a little bit different. Obviously, a spinnerbait is a weirder bait. It's a bigger bait. It's got a lot of surface area. It's got a big wire on it. Kind of awkward to put in a regular tackle box. Well, this is the type of box that I like to store my spinnerbaits in. This is a technique-specific box made for spinnerbaits. And basically what it is it's a tackle box that is literally made to organize your spinnerbaits. And this is what I recommend for spinnerbait storage. I don't recommend throwing them in a bag, because then the skirts can get messed up. They don't dry as easily. This box allows those blades and stuff to hang in there and allow those baits to dry evenly. Now, when it comes to brands of spinnerbaits, I don't like to go cheap on my spinnerbaits, and I know I'm a little bit of a cheapskate, but the $1 spinnerbaits you buy from Walmart, yes, they're going to work. They're going to catch you fish, don't get me wrong. But after a while, you're going to find some issues. The paint's going to chimp very easily. Blades are going to fall off. The split rings are going to break. The wires are going to break after a few fish. Hooks are a little bit lower quality. And by far, my favorite brand of spinnerbait, hands down. I've been fishing them for a long time, and they're my favorite brand of spinnerbait just because of the components that I'm just about to talk about. I am not sponsored by any of these spinnerbait companies at all, but I'm just trying to help you guys find a higher quality spinnerbait. So my favorite spinnerbait to throw, hands down, is the Trophy Bass CS2 spinnerbait by HD Tackle. And I want to show you guys why I love these spinnerbaits so much. The wire construction, though flimsy, very durable. The skirts always have a good flare to them. The blades are always shiny right out of the box. And the heads are in a bullet design, which means they're going to come through that grass a lot easier. They come in Colorado willow type, double willow type. They come in so many different combinations. Other brands that I like to use, obviously Booyah is a good brand. This is my favorite Colorado type spinnerbaits. Booyah works really, really well. Same thing, good construction, good blade construction, very strong blades. Good flare to the skirt, good strong hooks. And probably the third type of spinnerbait that I absolutely love throwing, for my third favorite type of spinnerbait, is Strike King. Strike King makes great spinnerbaits, good construction on these, good flare to the skirts. My two favorite Strike King spinnerbaits to throw, I have a Strike King burner spinnerbait. These work really well for fishing extremely fast, on the top of grass, a little bit of chop on the water, shallow water. A Strike King burner spinnerbait is going to do great. Then obviously I like the Strike King tour grade Indiana blade spinnerbaits. These things are absolutely awesome. Now you are going to have to spend a little more money on spinnerbaits if you guys want a higher quality bait, but it is worth it. Now, other thing I want to talk about is spinnerbait modifications. Trailer hooks. Absolutely love a trailer hook. You will catch 70% more fish on a trailer hook because a lot of times they're going to short strike that skirt. It's going to help you. Other thing I like to do to a spinnerbait, and I'm going to show you, I do this to all my spinnerbaits. Not sure if you guys can see that right at the line tie there. I tie a little piece of braided line on that line tie to keep that snap or my knot from slipping down. Never used to do this, started doing it recently. It's absolutely an amazing trick, especially if you're a fan of snap clips like me and you like interchanging baits very quickly. It's going to help you. Alright, so I hope this video helped shed some light on spinnerbait fishing. One of my favorite baits to throw. I love throwing them year round. Probably one of my top 5 favorite bass baits to throw of all time. Love spinnerbaits. I have a ton of them in my box. I carry like 18 of them. Absolutely love them. And I hope you guys saw this video. I hope you guys like to throw spinnerbaits as well. If you don't, I highly recommend you try it. I know it's a bait that a lot of people don't like to try, but it's a really great bait. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to see more videos where I talk about certain baits and stuff like this, do not forget to subscribe. I put out new videos as much as I can. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys again on the next video. Thanks for watching.